Hello, vinyl community. Midge here, a guy in a hat who likes to talk about that. And on tonight's video, I thought I've got something a little bit special for you. I couldn't help noticing that a lot of channels are showing the new Bruce Springsteen Tracks 2 box set with all the lost albums Bruce has made throughout his career, all looking very nice and spectacular, and lots of reviews going around about this lavish box set. Unfortunately, though, I can't afford the box set at the moment. I can't afford to shell out 265 quid for a box set. So I felt like you were all missing out a little bit. But I was in the pub last night and I was talking about it, and this guy must have overheard me, and he came over and he said, as chance would have it, he'd got this limited edition box set of Tracks 2 that wasn't readily available in the shops, and would I be interested in a copy? And I said, yeah, I'd love to have a look at it and, see what it's like. He said, the only trouble is the format is the tape format, but I'll do it you for 100 quid. And I thought, it's very unlikely that I'll ever get the vinyl box set. So I thought, well, why not take a punt? So he disappeared for half an hour, and then he came back and he presented me with this box set, which I'm going to show you now. Like I say, it's a tape version, so it's a little bit different, but it comes in its own presentation box. There you go. Bruce Springsteen Tracks 2. Limited edition, not available in the shops, exclusive to this guy. I don't know where he got it from. A few goodies involved in this box set and a few features. Obviously, it replicates the tape box that was used in the studios. A few album covers there. It comes with, I thought this was pretty cool as well, it comes with a laminated Bruce Springsteen as well in the box. I thought that was really cool. So, yeah, that's a feature of this box as well. And also, it came with, the guy who told me it was an exclusive. It's a genuine Bruce Springsteen headband as worn on his Born in the USA tour in the 80s. So that's pretty cool as well. But obviously, the main feature of the box is the lost album. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through all the albums for you. Apparently, it does replicate the same albums that are on the vinyl box set. So I'm going to run through them now. He was kind enough to give me a few handwritten liner notes for each album. So I'm going to go through it with you now. So I've had a quick listen. That's the actual tape involved. So all the albums are on here. There's 5 lost albums throughout Bruce's career on this tape. So I've been listening to it today, and I'm just going to give you a quick rundown of each one and where they appeared in his career and why they were shelved, basically. So, so let's go through this limited edition box set. So the first album in this set is from 1978. Again, an album that Bruce never released, and it was called Aerobic Dancing. Now, this was released, well, the idea was that Bruce was going to capitalise on the keep fit market that was booming in the 70s. So what they used to do is they used to get a celebrity to front. It was usually like a discified version of different songs, and the idea was you listen to the songs, the celebrity did a voiceover on top, and you'd work out to all the songs and you'd lose weight. So Bruce was very keen, apparently, to capitalise on this growing trend. So that's why that was the idea behind this album. So basically, what you've got is a track list. It's basically Bruce's songs, but he's discified them, and there's a voiceover, for like pelvic floor exercises, push-ups, press-ups, that sort of thing. So the idea was to get you fit while listening to Bruce. Unfortunately, it was never released because the vinyl was pressed okay, but when the sleeves went to the pressing plants, the very last minute, somebody in the factory noticed that you could actually see one of Bruce's testicles falling out of the shorts on the sleeve. They were a bit too small, so unfortunately the record had to be recalled for it to be airbrushed out, and by that time Jane Fonda got in on the act and everybody bought hers, so Bruce lost out effectively. So a bit of a shame really, but it is good if you like working out and listening to disco versions of Bruce's songs, but it's incredible in a way that Bruce Springsteen, if this album had been released and it was taken off, he could have been responsible for stopping the obesity crisis in the USA, and that it just seems like a lost opportunity there. But yeah, shame. But moving on. The next album in this collection is called Come Home Baby. This was an album he made in 1977. It was to capitalise on his love for Barry White, because obviously Barry White had a big career, popular with the ladies. He used to do a lot of songs about romance and love and trying to sweet talk women into his boudoir. And I think Bruce was very keen to pick up on this market. So it's basically an album of tracks from his career, sort of made into like love songs. So for example, you've got You Can Look, But You Can Also Touch. I think that was originally On the River. Prove It All Night, bit saucy. And obviously the classic I'm Going Down. Obviously very popular with the ladies and the gents as well, to be honest. But when it came to the pressing, people thought it might be a bit too raunchy for Bruce's audience. And obviously he didn't want to cut out all the blue-collar workers and all the other fans. So basically, it had to be shelved because he didn't want to just appeal to one market. And basically, they didn't think his voice was gruff enough to compete with Barry White. So again, unfortunately, that album fell by the wayside. But it's dated pretty well. It's a good listen. So yeah, I'd recommend it. I recommend a listen. And what have we got next? Next, quite an unusual one for Bruce, quite experimental. This was released it was intended to be released in 1983, and it was a homage of sorts to his love for Brian Wilson and the Beach Boys, but a bit of a different take on it. So this was Vet Sounds. So basically, this was Bruce's ambitious experimental project where he sought to replicate the songs of the Beach Boys with the noises of putting his arm up a cow's backside to test for prostate problems and things like that. So there's a lot of... And, it was very expensive, I can't even say it, very experimental for its time. But it never really took off. It was a bit too freaky, if you know what I mean. So you had basically an album of very sloppy sound effects and with him humming God Only Knows over it. And it didn't really capture the mood I think he was going for. Also, it did sound quite disgusting in parts. And basically, it's not a very nice job sticking your hand up cows' backsides all day. And in fact, he did actually take it too far. And one day, he actually got stuck. So he did have to bring the cow into the studio with him. So he couldn't do any field recordings. He actually literally come in with the cow still attached until another vet, ironically enough, was called to free him from it. But, it was ahead of his time. He was thinking ahead, and that's the thing about Bruce Springsteen. He never stands still. He's always looking for a new angle or a new, approach to writing songs. And he's obviously written a lot of songs in lots of different styles. But unfortunately, this was an album that was perhaps a step too far. And but it would probably be popular with vets and trainee vets, but unfortunately it was shelved, and it hasn't seen the light of day until now. But it's not an easy listen, I'll be honest with you. It's probably my least favourite of the albums on this set. So the next one, again quite a controversial about term for Bruce, from 1989. And if you remember back, 1989 was the year of gangster rap. And there was a lot of gangster rap influences about. NWA were very popular, as was the Two Live Crew in Miami, who used to do very sort of crude and sexual songs. But Bruce was very into this. He got really involved at the starting level of this movement. And he really wants to be a part of it. And, you can't knock him for that. He wasn't just jumping on a bandwagon. He had a lot of love for hip-hop. And so, he took the sort of a bit controversial route of going down this gangster rap, sex rap type things. And he came up with the album from 1989, I've Been in Your Mum's Tunnel of Love. So you had Bruce sort of rapping about life in New Jersey, life on the streets, being a blue-collar worker, but also it was quite sexual and a bit racy for its time, and probably very racy for Bruce as well. You had songs like Working on Your Highway, Porn to Run, Ramrod, and 99 Johnnies, which was a sort of inversion of his Johnny 99 song, which I think you can understand where he was going to on that song. And obviously Glory Holes, a remake of Glory Days. But yeah, when it came to the crucial element of releasing the album, he got a bit of a cold feet. I don't think his audience was quite ready for Bruce. I mean, it was nothing to do with his raps or anything. He had his rhymes were on point. He had a great flow, good beats. But his management were very, look, Bruce, are you sure you want to do this? And they were worried about getting lawsuits from people's mums about, whether or not it was her tunnel that he'd been exploring. And unfortunately, that side of Bruce was never allowed to flourish. But it's another one of what might have been. Can you imagine Bruce Springsteen performing with the Two Live Crew? Could he have been down with Eazy-E or Ice Cube? It's a path that could have been trod that wasn't. So great shame, really, great shame. But the album does stand up. It does sound a bit old school now. But it was a decent stab at the hip hop market. But unfortunately, never to be, never to be. And now we come to the last album on this set. And again, this is another strange career path chosen by Bruce at the time. And it's 1992's Hatchet Job, which was appealing to the Swedish death metal scene. Bruce was very interested in the death metal scene at the time, bands like Burzum and Count Grishnak and all the burning down churches and killing people sort of scene. And he thought it was something that might shock his audience. He was going for the shock factor and to try and bring a lot of the new people, the new kids on board and, build his fan base. So in 1992 released this album. Obviously, it was a bit like the Beatles' Butcher cover. They did advise him against it, and the sleeve was originally withdrawn before it was released. Apparently, the meat he's cutting up is actually Steve Van Zandt of the E Street Band. He played a wrong chord one night, and Bruce had just had enough, and he just thought, I've had enough of this, Steve. I'm chopping you up. And somebody was on hand to capture that scene, and he thought it had the requisite shock value to put on this album, and get involved in the Swedish black metal, death metal scene. He sort of, I think the biggest song from this really was a remake of his song Hungry Heart, and on here he's called it Everybody Wants a Piece of Heart. And, I think people thought that it might be, a bit too far, a bit controversial. And also, Bruce wasn't really keen on burning churches down, so he got that heavily invested. He started burning his studios down, so he could never get any work done. So I think his management's, look, Bruce, perhaps steer him away from this sort of scene. So unfortunately, again, another stylistic route Bruce could have taken was cruelly cut down. So again, it's a strong album. It is a strong album. His voice is obviously quite deep anyway, but the gruffness of his vocal delivery on here, it keep him in lozenges for the rest of the year. And I think they were worried that a tour wouldn't be sustainable with that sort of vocal. But again, it's credit to Bruce. He's always there to try his hand at something new and to keep his fans, interested and to, for his own personal artistic growth. So, yeah, that's my version of the Bruce Springsteen Tracks 2. I hope you like it. I've really enjoyed it, to be honest with you. And for £100, I mean, you can't go wrong, can you? You've got your little Bruce there. I'm going to be wearing this headband, when I'm out and about. And it saved me a lot of money getting it on tape. So actually, if anybody else is interested in a copy, just let me know, because he's not answering his phone at the moment for some reason, but I'm sure I'll see this guy again next time I go in the pub. So if anyone's interested and they do want a box, Tracks 2 box set on cassette with these albums, I'll ask. There's no harm in asking. Oh, and I just wanted to point out one more feature. If you notice, it's got like this sort of like emery strip on the side of the tape box, and apparently that's for Bruce's fans, because he obviously realises that when you listen to a lot of material like this, you like to enjoy a swift joint or perhaps a big cigar, and apparently you can strike matches on this and light up your cigar of choice and digest this with a glass of whiskey. So they think of everything these days, don't they? Pretty cool. So yeah, if you want one, hit me up. But in the meantime, thanks for watching, and like me, I hope you continue to enjoy Bruce's work. And I think there's a Tracks 3 on the way, so I might ask this guy in the pub about that, see if he can get me a copy of that as well. But yeah, so I'll see you in the next video, and until then, midge out. Thanks a lot.